we've got a women's contest, guys. This one's going down in the strawweight division at 115 pounds. And I'm going to quote the numbers from our friends at Fight Numbers, guys. If you haven't already, make sure that you go ahead and check out fightnumbers.com. They've got free information. They've got premium information. And either way, it's all stuff that's going to help you win on your UFC bets or get the best available price. So if you're going to lose less. If you're going to win more. That's always the goal. But either way, we're looking at the best available price. Talita Alencar sitting at a plus 165 over on BetOnline. Meanwhile, Stephanie Rondinha Luciano is sitting at a minus 170 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. So this is a fight where you've got two women rematching, guys. We talked about a rematch that's going down in the main event. We've got bookend rematches. How about that? This went down on the Contender Series, guys. This went down with Talita Alencar and Stephanie Luciano fighting to a draw, right? 5-1-1. Stephanie Luciano taking on Talita Alencar, who is 5-0-1. And Alencar has since bounced back from that draw. She got signed to the UFC. She went out there. She fought Rayanne Amanda to a controversial split decision win. Then you look at Stephanie Luciano, right? Stephanie Luciano fought to a draw on the Contender Series, guys, and she has not fought since. She was scheduled for a fight with Julia Pilastri in March of this year, and she withdrew due to dengue fever. Now, guys, I can't say that I'm a doctor, a scientist, anything like that. I'm far from it. But dengue fever, break bone fever, is what dengue translates to, is a viral infection that spreads from mosquitoes to people, more common in tropical and subtropical climates. The common symptoms are high fever, headache, body aches, nausea, and rash. So that sounds absolutely terrible. I've never seen it. My guy Dixon says he has seen it, and it's terrible. I have a good friend who was born in Guatemala. So my brother, that sounds absolutely terrible. My cousin had dengue. He was out for months. I'm very sorry to hear that, Nendal. Wow. So yeah, basically what we're seeing is, Stephanie Luciano had a serious health scare. I don't think there's another way to describe it. So, she's clearly a talented fighter. These women went to a draw the first time. Talita Alencar, I think Dixon kind of hit it on the head, right? She is a little bit of a weasel, right? She finds a way to win the fight, but it's not always clean. It's not always easy. If you go back and look, the thing that really scared me about Alencar is that she had some sketchy moments against Contreras. She had some sketchy moments against Kelsey Arneson, where the fights get extended. She's not able to necessarily dominate using her jiu-jitsu fully, right? And by dominate, I mean to the point of submission, to the point where her opponent gives up. She was able to get a third round sub against Contreras. She was able to go the full 15 minutes with Kelsey Arneson, but her cardio is not great. Oh, excuse me. And I don't know that we can, project her to fight a great 15 minutes. I think she's basically capped right now at about 10 solid minutes, and she's very small as well. So if you look, she's giving up substantial height and reach, and, she could definitely be in another position where she's gassed out in this fight. She struggles to strike with Luciano, and she just gets outlanded on the feet and or hurt at some point and potentially put away. I think the thing that will probably keep her in the fight is the fact that she has very good jiu-jitsu, and I don't think that Stephanie Luciano is going to be willing or anxious to go exchange with her, on the mat. She's 0-0 career to the submission, 2-0 career to the knockout, Stephanie Luciano. Meanwhile, Talita Alencar is, I don't think she's ever won a fight via knockout. So I'm looking right now at her record, and she's got 5 wins, and they're all rear naked chokes and decisions. So yeah, she is a pretty one-note grappler so far in her career. And normally I like grapplers in WMMA, but I just don't know how much faith I have in somebody that doesn't have the cardio to push her own fight style for 15 minutes. She's 33 years of age, so she's not a spring chicken. She's tiny. All the anthropomorphic advantages go to the Luciano side here, but the dengue fever, the lack of activity since the last fight, all of those are red flags for me as well. I don't think this is an easy fight to call. I do think that Luciano is probably more deserving of favorite status, but by the slightest of all margins, if anything. Shout out to Tristan, says Talita Alencar is a really boring fighter. I tend to agree. When you look, the problem I have is not with somebody who wants to go out there and grapple, right? I like grappling. I like wrestling, right? I respect both those arts. I participate in the sport. But when you look, there's a difference between fighting and grappling. If we want to see a grappling match, we'll go turn on a grappling match, right? If we want to go see people wrestle, we'll turn on the Olympics. But when we want to watch a fight, we want to watch people fight. We want to watch people pursuing the finish, right? That's all. That's my standard. If you're out there and you're looking for submission, 50 in a row, and you never stop, I like your fighting because you're trying to finish the fight. But if you're out there and you're just holding on to people and you're not trying to do anything interesting, hey, God bless you. You're a winner. It's boring as sin. Nobody wants to watch it. And the thing about Alencar is she's just not even super consistent with that. In terms of like knowing that she's going to go out there and easily get takedowns. I mean, her takedown game still a work in progress, I would say at best. And at 33 years of age, I wonder how good it's going to get over the course of her career. I do have some questions. So for me, it's a fight where, I don't have any compelling reason to get involved, right? It's a rematch of a fight that was very, very close, but ultimately it does seem like people like the Alencar side, and she leaves a lot to be desired, I feel. Shout out to Dixon, says, this reminds me of Pooja Tomar and Rayanne Amanda. Sloppy, low level, go to decision, ends in split, don't pick a side. Fair play. I could definitely see that happening. But the one thing I would note is I think when Alencar loses, it might not be a split decision. It might be Alencar getting finished. In general in MMA, like I have not liked her reaction to getting hit, to getting pressured. I do think she has some wilty vibes. So something to keep in the back of our mind is I don't think she's met much resistance. I think the most resistance she ever met was the Luciano fight. And I think Luciano is still young enough that she could present a better product. So that's the only thing I would think is like, late round props for Luciano or decision, split decision. I could see either of that taking place. And I do think Alencar, submitting her in the first round is not something I would rule out either. Didn't happen the last time, but maybe she knows like, hey, last time I kept it going all 15 minutes and it was terrible. So I should go in there and just try and kill her instantly. That would probably be what I advised her to do if I was a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, hey, why don't you just try and take this girl out right away? Mark Schillingberg in the chat says this has live bet written all over it. Fair play. General Joy de Vivir. I tried my best. I butchered that, I'm sure. Fading the dengue. I understand. Fight doesn't go the distance I like at plus 190, says my guy Line Mover. I think that's a little thin, if I'm being frank, on value, but I don't hate it because I could definitely see the case for both women finishing. I can't really see Luciano by sub unless Alencar is completely on E, but I can see where you're coming from on that. And contrarian WMMA, fight doesn't go the distance. That's an angle I look for myself sometimes. So fair play, my brother. Good shout.